Before time was measured, before kingdoms rose and fell, the world was brand new, fresh, untouched. God had shaped the earth with incredible intention, and beauty mountains rising like silent giants, rivers carving paths through soft valleys, and forests bursting with life. But this grand creation was not yet complete. In the quiet of a perfect morning, God formed a man from the very dust of the ground. This wasn't a rushed or accidental act. He was formed with care, with purpose, and then, with a single breath from the Creator himself, the man came alive. His eyes opened to a world filled with color, light, and perfect harmony. This man was called Adam. As Adam explored his new home, he saw breathtaking beauty everywhere he looked. Birds glided effortlessly in the sky. Magnificent animals roamed the fields, and rivers sparkled like liquid glass under the sun. But amidst all this wonder, he felt something else, a sense of being alone. So God placed Adam in a garden unlike any other place called Eden. Eden was more than just a garden. It was a living masterpiece. Luscious fresh fruit hung from every branch. Waterfalls cascaded down rocks like sheets of silver. The air was filled with the fragrances of flowers that no human nose had ever known before. And at the very center of this paradise stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God spoke clearly to Adam, giving him one simple instruction: "You may eat from any tree in this garden, except for one. Do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from it, you will surely die." Adam listened. He understood the command. And yet, this vast, beautiful garden still felt too big for just one person. Then, one day, God caused Adam to fall into a deep, profound sleep. While he slept, God took one of Adam's ribs and, with the same care he had used before, shaped it into a woman. When Adam woke up and saw her for the first time, something inside him lit up. She was like him, yet beautifully different. Her presence filled an emptiness he didn't even know how to describe. Adam called her Eve. Together they walked the paths of the garden. They laughed. They worked side by side, their labor a source of joy, not toil. They cared for the animals, giving them names, exploring the winding rivers, and tending to the plants. Most incredibly, they walked and talked with God in perfect peace. There were no arguments, no fear, no shame. There was only harmonia, perfect connection between God, His creation, and themselves. Life in Eden was unlike anything we can imagine now. Each morning arrived with a soft golden light, and the melodies of birdsong wrapped around the garden like a warm blanket of sound. Adam and Eve tasted fruit that was sweeter than honey. They bathed in crystal-clear streams that never ran dry. Even the animals walked close to them without fear or aggression. Lions lay down beside deer, and eagles perched peacefully beside doves. There was no danger, no sickness, no pain. They worked, but their work was a joyful act of creativity and discovery, not a struggle for survival. They learned, they explored, and they grew in their understanding of the world and their Creator. They had everything they could possibly need, and every evening, as the cool breeze swept gently through the garden, God would walk with them. Just imagine that for a moment, hearing the voice of God, not with fear or reverence from a distance, but as a close and trusted friend. This was Eden, a place of perfect peace, perfect provision, and perfect relationship. It was paradise. But this paradise was not left unchallenged. One day, a serpent described as more crafty and cunning than any other beasts slithered into the garden. It approached Eve not with a command, but with a seemingly harmless question. "Did God really say," the serpent hissed, "that you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" Its words were designed to twist the truth just slightly. Eve corrected the serpent, explaining that they could eat freely from every tree except for one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. She knew the rule well. If they even touched it, if they ate from it, they would die. The serpent's voice then grew smooth, persuasive. "You will not die," it promised. God knows that when you eat from that tree, your eyes will be opened. You will be like God, knowing good and evil. His words planted a tiny seed of doubt where no doubt had ever existed before. A question mark appeared in a world of perfect certainty. Eve looked at the fruit on the forbidden tree. Suddenly, it seemed more beautiful, more desirable than she had ever noticed before. The promise of hidden knowledge, of being like God, was intoxicating. She reached out. She hesitated for a moment, but then she took it, and she ate. And Adam, who was right there with her, took the fruit as well. In that single instant, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not to the glory and power they expected. Instead, for the first time, they saw their own nakedness, and they were flooded with a feeling they had never known: shame. It was a cold, alien emotion that wrapped around them. They hid from each other, and they desperately tried to cover themselves with fig leaves. Later, when they heard the familiar sound of God walking in the garden, the same sound that once brought them so much joy now filled them with terror. They ran and hid among the trees. God called out, his voice echoing through the unfamiliar paradise. "Adam, where are you?" Hesitantly, Adam stepped out from his hiding place and confessed, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Then came the truth. God already knew what had happened, but he gave them the chance to speak it themselves. When asked, Adam blamed Eve. "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." And when God turned to Eve, she blamed the serpent. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." The perfect unity they once shared began to crack and crumble. Blame had entered paradise. Then God spoke judgment not out of hatred, but out of his perfect holiness. Things could not remain as they were. To the serpent, he declared it would crawl on its belly for all its days, and there would be deep animosity between it and humanity. to Eve, he said that childbearing would now be filled with pain, and the perfect, effortless harmony in marriage would become strained and difficult. To Adam, he declared that the very ground he was made from would become difficult to work. Thorns and thistles would grow from now on. Sweat and struggle would be a part of his life to bring forth food. But even in this moment of judgment, God gave a glimmer of hope. He promised that one day a descendant of the woman would come and crush the serpent's head, delivering a final blow to the evil that had just entered the world, to protect Adam and Eve from eating from the tree of life while in their fallen state and living forever in separation from Him. God sent them out of the garden. In an act of grace, He clothed them Himself with garments made from animal skin, a sign of care in the middle of their punishment. And at the entrance to Eden, He placed mighty angels with flaming swords to guard the way back to the tree of life. Adam and Eve walked away from Eden, away from the only home they had ever known. The world outside was harsher, colder, different. Paradise was lost. But their story didn't end in exile. This wasn't just the end of a perfect beginning. It was the start of a new, much longer story. Humanity would continue. The promise God gave in the garden would echo down through generations. A thread of hope woven through the tapestry of human history. And one day, that promise would be fulfilled through Jesus Christ, as redemption would arrive to make a new way back to God. The story of Adam and Eve is more than just a tale of a fall from grace. It's the beginning of the entire human journey. It's a foundational story about choice, consequence, mercy, and enduring hope. Thanks for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of these timeless narratives. See you next time.